Okay, first of all, thank you very much for accepting this meeting and this interview. It's a great pleasure. If you can to introduce yourself, like my name is Saineh, I'm a journalist, something like that.
Okay. Thank you very much. My name is Saineh MK Marena. I am a Gambian journalist who has been living in exile for the past 4 years in Dakar. And I came back home just last year after the new change, the new democratic change. So currently I am working with the Gambia Radio and Television Services as a chief correspondent and also social media strategist. I am responsible for the online content of the state broadcasters for social media platform. So it's a pleasure talking to you guys.
Okay, thank you very much. You can to look a little bit down, like at this point.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, that was perfect. Okay, you are one of the first person that we know that here in Gambia that have a high level education. Okay, so I want to ask you about if it was hard to access a high level education and how it works in your experience. All about effort, it's luck, or it's a mix of all of the things.
Gambia, like many other African countries, face a serious challenge in terms of accessing education. So growing up in a very poor community, with lack of access to education, few schools, many parents cannot pay, their school fees without support of, people like you, organizations in Europe. It's a very, very hard challenge, but with determination, with commitment, with perseverance, if you want to reach any level, nothing can stop you from reaching that level. I believe in a slogan that nothing is impossible. Everything is possible. If you commit yourself to it, you're going to make it happen. So coming back to your questions, how do I, manage to go to school, and have a profession that now I can boast and say I'm one of the few Gambian journalists who is widely followed both on and offline, and also a lot of people have respect for me in the sense that whatever I put, I make sure it's something that will benefit my readers, my viewers, my listeners. So that's very key. Myself, I started my professional career as a young boy, fresh from high school. I went to Armitage High School. It's a boarding school. It's the only boarding school in the Gambia. It's located in Janjampore, the administrative capital of Central River Region, which is in the provincial Gambia. I went to school there immediately after I finished my school because I have a passion for journalism. When I was going to high school, we used to have what we call the press club. I was the editor of that press club. So we do news reviews, we do magazines. So I built interest to be a journalist. And then, it was during the dictatorship, everyone is afraid to be a journalist. But since school days, I knew that, the environment was not conducive. But I have this passion to speak for the voiceless, to bring the, plight of people to the forefront, and also to speak about societal issues that affect the livelihood of people. So that was how I, enter into the newsroom. From high school, I went to newsroom. And during that period, because there was no formal education for journalism in this country, there was no university that teaches journalism because people are afraid. So, but thank God I was able to get some training. I was among few journalists who were taken to Ghana in 2010 to do, a diploma course at the Ghana Institute of Journalism. So from there I came back. I worked with the Point newspaper, which is a print media. Point newspaper was one of the independent private newspapers in this country. One of their editor, the founder of the Point newspaper, Deda Hydra, was assassinated in 2004 by the former government of Yajam. Investigation into that are also ongoing. I worked with the Point for 6-7 years, and then I left the Point for the Standard newspaper, which is also a private newspaper. So there, I was reporting and I got some issues, with the state. I was arrested in 2013, for publishing a political story about a defection of some 19 green youths. These green youths were the former die-hard supporters of the former regime of Yahya Jammeh. They cross carpet to the then opposition UDP, now the coalition government of Adama Barrow. So I wrote that story, and then I was arrested by the police. They said my publication is false. It has the capacity to, cause violence, or that was just a bogus charge. So I was taken to court. Went to court for 11 months, and then there was no evidence against me by the court. I was charged with 2 counts. One, conspiracy to commit misdemeanor. 2, conspiracy. 2 was publication of false news with intent to cause fear or alarm to the public. If you know, Gambia is one of those countries where freedom of expression was tightly controlled. We have very bad media laws, and that is why I am still advocating for the new government to remove all those bad laws, and they promise that they're going to work on it, because already the Constitutional Review Commission have started work to look at all the laws in the Constitution and bring new ones that are in line with local and international standards. So I am very passionate about, media laws. They need to be changed because they are a threat to democracy, good governance, and, media freedom. So for me, that's how it started. So I left Gambia to exile in Dakar, and I was in Dakar. Dakar and Gambia is like one community, but different, settings, because Senegal is a Francophone country, colonizers French. Gambia is Anglophone, English. So going there into exile, in a very strange environment, there were challenges of, language. So it wasn't easy. But during my life in exile, I was able to, work so hard to ensure that, the messages that were coming out from Banjul, because then no journalist there to write critical stories about the government. So it's only us outside. They will send off information under anonymous names, and then we'll publish. So I take that commitment that I will raise the voices of the masses back home to expose the brutality that was going on during that time in the Gambia. So I was able to build contact, with international organization, international media organization, including International Federation of Journalists, CPJ, Committee to Protect Journalists. I also had contact with Amnesty, Human Rights Watch, Article Disnov. These are all international organizations. So I talked to them about the issue of Gambia. I traveled to attend a lot of international conferences. I was in Netherlands, I went to The Hague to talk about the Gambia, because Gambia withdrew from the International Criminal Court. So I went to The Hague to talk about the Gambia. I went to Kenya to attend a civil society fast. So I had gone so many places to talk to people about Gambia, how they need to rescue the Gambia then, because we were facing a serious development challenge. We were fighting a dictator who have total disregard for rule of law, for human rights, for democracy. So he was just a ruthless guy. So while in Senegal, I was able to also build my capacity, attend various international trainings on my career as a journalist, also as an activist, because that's why a lot of people will tell me now you have kind of stopped activism, because I used to advocate strongly for certain things to be done right. But then we were in a dictatorship, and I was a journalist, because we owe it to our community to at least fight for them, for them to, live in a very dignified life. So I fight a lot, doing advocacy, talking to people. So when I came back, we were fighting to have democracy, and now we have democracy. I focus more on my professional career as a journalist. So now I do more of production, more of online content, producing online content. And also, I still, check the government to make them accountable. I speak against issues that affect us, because you cannot fight for change and you are not seeing that change translated, because we fight that, we fight for a system change, like, we want, things to, change, not like how they were being before, but to change because we are in a new democratic system. So that is also something that I am still, reminding the government of their, obligations, what they're supposed to do, what they promise us to do. But thank God, Gambia before and Gambia now is two quite different. If it is Gambia before, you will not dare come to a state broadcaster, interview a journalist working with a state television. Never. They will think that you are a spy. They will think that they will not even grant you that they will not approve you to come here. But today, you can walk freely, interview anybody. They will talk openly about their government without fear of being arrested. I think that is one of the greatest things that could have happened to this country.
In that kind of thing, if you don't mind, I want to point.
Yeah, if you feel free. If you want to stop me anytime,
of course,
you want,
because you answered so many questions that
that you wanted to ask me.
Yeah, of course.
Right.
Do you think that with Barrow now, the freedom of speech is totally achieved? You think?
No, there is still room for improvement. But if I'm going to measure it for 100%, at least 75% have been achieved within short pace of time. Because now you can go to radio station and speak your mind, challenge government. You can even say things that are not true, and you still go free. Because we see politicians accusing government of certain things which are not true, and government accusing politicians of certain things which is not true. But still, we still, live, without any problem. What I'm saying is that, our democracy is young, and Gambians are new to democracy. The issue is that many people are misunderstanding the concept of democracy. And for me, I think democracy is more than what we are seeing. Democracy is not an event, it's a process. And during that process, you must build strong institutions. If you fail to build those strong institutions, you risk your democracy being collapsed. Because if you don't have strong judicial system, strong anti-corruption bodies, strong National Assembly, and strong, executive, it's always going to be a problem. That is why now is the time for Gambians to believe and build strong institutions. And I think, it might be slow, but we are moving towards that direction where no leader will come here and entrench yourself into power forever.
Okay, for talk something to point more things about that political change that Gambia is happening in Gambia. I'd be interested to know how was a day by day for a journalist in the
Jammeh time.
Yeah, in the Jammeh time.
I am a victim, and look, I will be very frank to you. Then I used to write critical stories, but anytime I write stories that I feel are critical, I know how to go about myself, because we expect to be arrested every now and then, and we expect to be harassed, intimidated. We expect it anytime, anywhere. So it was like living under hell during Jammeh time as a journalist in the Gambia. We have more than 200 journalists that went into exile. So there were instances you will not find an independent journalist in this country. It's two things. You either sing the praises of the government or Yaya Jammeh, or you shut up. So many journalists who were critical, were silenced. Some were forced to flee the country. Some were even assassinated. People like Dede Hydra in 2004. Some disappeared. People like Ibrahim Chief Mane. Some people, were tortured seriously. A lot of Gambian journalists took their cases to the ECOWAS Court for Human Rights, and the ECOWAS court delivered judgments in favor of those journalists. But the Jammeh government, the former government, refused to comply with the orders of the ECOWAS court. And now the new government, because government comes and go, even if it is a new government with no hand, they still have an obligation to fulfill those court orders. And they have started paying the Dede Hydra family, the Umar Sedikan family, and also Chief Ibrahim Mane.
So there wasn't other ways of communication during the regime, is extra-official, online, or there's no way for freedom or to try to
criticize the government.
Yeah.
There was no freedom online. Now is the time. Batu or your friend will tell you, now Gambians are so free. They even, whatever comes to their mind, they will go online and write about it. Before, nobody dare go to online and write and criticize your government. You dare not. But today, it's like drinking water. So people are totally free online now than before. Before, you cannot access critical websites that are critical to the regime of Yahya Jammeh. Most of them were blocked. One of them was Freedom newspaper. It's based in the United States. Very critical of the former government. They write everything. It was blocked. Gainako was blocked. All other online radio stations were blocked. When I was in Dakar, the website I worked for was blocked. But I sent codes to my people here that you can bypass. You can bypass those sites and view our website. So generally, there was total lack of freedom on the internet.
But if in Senegal too, the website is locked, Senegal collaborates with the regime?
No. In Senegal, you can access them. If Senegal wanted to collaborate with the regime, people like us will come back to Gambia. But when you go to Senegal, you have thousands of Gambians refugees, thousands of Gambians living in exile that flee the country because of persecution, because of threats on their life. We were many. I wish you come around early 2017, around January. You see a lot of Gambians who have been living in Senegal, some for 15 years, some for 20 years, some for many, many years, all returning back home after the fall of Yahya Jammeh. So Senegal was very supportive to the Gambia during the process of getting Yahya Jammeh out. But as I said, Senegal and Gambia is like one country. That's why they call it Senegambia. But Senegal is bigger than the Gambia, and in terms of development, Senegal is far ahead of the Gambia. But Gambians will not hardly accept that because, we are neighbors, and, that, concept of rivalry still persists. That is why many people will tell you Senegal have a strategic interest in the Gambia. That is why they are trying by all means to see that Gambia is peaceful. There is an interest. Currently, you have Senegalese soldiers serving under the economic mission in the Gambia. And you cannot access the northern part of Senegal, that is Casamas, without coming through the Gambia. So this is a very strategic place and a strategic trading post for Senegal. So I think for me, our relation with Senegal should always be based on, mutual trust, interest, and respect for each other's sovereignty. Because Senegal cannot survive without the Gambia, and Gambia cannot survive without Senegal. This is interlinked.
And what do you think? Because when Jammeh falls, some troops of Senegal army come to Gambia to protect Barrow and to free the country. Yeah. But that force is still in Gambia. What do you think?
I think Senegal was the first country to go to the United Nations for the UN Security Council to convey on the Gambia. Senegal was the first country. Then their foreign affairs, Mokhtar Ndai, was the one who was there. He was the first person, to raise the alarm of the Gambia. That gave the way for the ECOWAS troop to come. And when the ECOWAS troops were coming to the Gambia, I was in Senegal then. Most of them were camped in Senegal. and they use the Senegalese border to enter the Gambia. So that shows to you that, as I said earlier on, Senegal have a special interest in the Gambia, because what affects the Gambia will affect Senegal. What affects Senegal will affect the Gambia. During the impasse, more than 45,000 to 50,000 Gambians flee this country to go to Senegal. Because why? Senegal is the closest place. And during that process, a lot of things happen. And Senegal was very helpful to be able to contain the crisis with the help of the ECOWAS, the United Nations, and the European Union.
So Senegal was the first voice in
yeah,
ECOWAS to
yeah,
reclaim that
yeah,
the situation.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. For me a complete picture of the days of Jammeh. Which were the keys that Jammeh used to control the population? It's about the media, junglers, and some kind of things.
Jammeh deployed a tactic of threats and intimidation, arrest and killing to control the mindset of the people. And one thing he succeeded in trying to control the Gambian was his manipulative tactics. He used his wealth to mix the country. He used religious leaders. He used his security forces. Jammeh used everything at his disposal to intimidate Gambians. Gambians were so afraid of Jammeh to a state that nobody dare talk about Jammeh in public. If you are not going to talk good about him, you must shut up. You cannot talk bad, because nobody knows who is who. Out of 5 people, 3 are spies on uniform. So he used intimidation tactics, threats, killings, and his wealth to control the mindset of Gambians. And also, he controlled the media. There was no independent, viable media in the Gambia. The only media here is this television. And when you come to this television, anytime you see Jammeh's photos, Jammeh's images constantly on television. So he is trying to control the narrative by imposing himself on the minds of people. You go everywhere, you see Jammeh's billboard spring over the streets. Anywhere you go, you will see his billboard. So these were some of the things Jammeh was able to control the Gambia. He used the police, the security, the media, religion, as a cover-up to create terror on the people here. But now people have wake up. They were sleeping because there was no education up to university level. Many over I can say over 40% of this country are illiterates. So instead of building schools so that people can be aware, giving license to media houses to operate, he restricted all that just to stay in power. He controlled the minds of the people.
Okay, we're speaking about
how Jammeh control. As I said, Jammeh used the police, the media, the religious community to control the mindset of Gambians.
Okay, and in that situation, what was the detonant of the change? Because there's a man who is Solo Sanden, then it's a public manifestation or movement, and he disappeared, no?
Yeah, he was killed. Let me tell you, there were a lot of factors that give birth to what we call the new Gambia. I myself am part of those people who contributed towards the change we all enjoy. And many people, because no individual can tell you, I did this alone. It's collective. Ourselves, we have issues among ourselves when we were fighting Jammeh, because we disagree to a state that we say, no, we cannot get Jammeh out, so it's better we concentrate on something. We say, hey, look, who is he? there are dictators more strong, powerful than Jammeh, and at the end of the day, they fall. People like Gaddafi, Ben Ali, Mubarak, those are very powerful dictators, but at the end of the day, they go. So those give us, courage and strength to, keep the fight going on. But as I said, Jammeh was a kind of person who believed himself too much. He believed in power. Jammeh never thought that he's going to leave power.
How the media or the free journalists like you reacts when the protests start? You think that is something special?
Of
or
course.
just
I was so excited
was?
about it because this is very rare. A protest openly in the Gambia to say, hey, Jammeh, we want you to go. Hey, Jammeh, we want you to change these laws. It was unprecedented. And let me tell you, Solo Sandeng was a key architect to this change we are enjoying today. Without that guy, he inspired many people like us. I know Solo Sandeng myself. I interviewed him several times. I remember when I was arrested in 2013, it was because of Solo Sandeng. He was the youth leader of the UDP then. He organized that program, a rally in Tanje, where those green youths of the supporters of Yahya Jammeh defected. I was there. So I was not surprised when I heard that Solo Sandeng, lead that protest in the streets of Banjul, where he was arrested and later he died in custody. I was so energetic. If you go back to my Facebook memories or my Twitters, you will see that I was among the first journalists who tweeted that there was a rare protest that turned, deadly in Banjul. Then the international community picked it up. So Solo died after around 2 days. Lawyer Dabo, now the vice president, went to the street with his entire executive. He was on the forefront. He was even telling his supporters that particular day, I can remember 18 April 2016, that I will take the first blood. You all stay behind me. Whatever happened, I'm going to lead today. They were even telling him, no, you have to go behind. He said, no. Then, so those were all things that ignite the change we are having today. And also Jammeh's disrespectful, tasteful elders. He went out and insulted a majority tribe, the Mandinkas, telling them that you will not be leaders here. If any of you wanted to, overthrow my government or, accuse of this and this, I'm going to kill you and bury you 9 feet on the ground. So that has angered a lot of Mandinkas and many, many Gambians, because Gambia is one of the most peaceful countries in this world. Very peaceful country. You will not know whether you are Christian or Muslim. At times when I address, people will tell me, you are a Christian and I'm a Muslim. But you hardly know, because we coexist. We go to churches together, we go to mosques together, we attend people's naming ceremonies even together. Gambia is predominantly a secular state where Muslims and Christians live side by side. But when Yahya Jammeh came, he was using religion as a cover-up to do his dirty things. He said he's a marabout, he can heal, he can do this, and declare Gambia an Islamic state without even going through the due process of the law. A secular state, you want to declare that Islamic state? So these were some of the things that anger Gambians, and they don't know how to fight Jammeh to get him out until this protest in 2016 started. It has injected new hopes, new high sense of stuff on many Gambians.
In your opinion, why it seems always it's necessary a death or 1,000 of deaths to ignite the change?
Yeah, that's a very fundamental question, because other countries like other African countries normally who wanted to change leaders, let's say Libya, Egypt, Tunisia, neighboring country Liberia, Sierra Leone, people want to do changes, a lot of people die. But Gambia, I can say the entire impasse go on and off, nobody died, because this country is so blessed. Very, very blessed. It's a very blessed country and a very peaceful country. Our ancestors or our elders will tell you, anybody who pray for violence to happen in this country, it will come back to you. So I even tell many Gambians that if there should be a serious bloodbath or violence in this country, it could have been in January 2017 when Jammeh refused to step out and the economic forces were at the border coming in, and Jammeh is telling his men to fight to the last minute, and it never happened. That shows to you that this country is very peaceful and is blessed. So I can tell you that Gambia is the most peaceful country in the world because people live here side by side. You can even see it on the faces of many. We have our issues, but I travel to many countries and I see how people live in those countries. And I came, but you will not appreciate it until when you go out.
Talking about the Gambian character, what was the word on the street during the protest?
The word was, we want electoral reform because Jammeh, always amend the constitution. We have very bad laws in the constitution. These are electoral laws. These laws give Jammeh power to win elections. So Solo Sunday and others went to the street and say, hey, we want you to change these laws. We want to have a fair level playing field for all political players. He said no. They were arrested. So the message was, Jammeh, change the laws for us to go fair elections. And let's see, if you win, we accept. If we also win, you accept. But he said no. And then others were also telling him, Jammeh, 22 years is enough, you have to step down. So those were the key messages highlighted during the protest of Solo Sunday in April 2016.
According to the elections, success in 2016, there was a law in the regime of Jammeh that forbids the people access to internet.
Yeah, internet was shut down.
Calls, how did journalists
work
in that situation?
Interesting. I was in Dakar, and I was in touch with a lot of international organizations, like the EU representatives who were in Dakar. They came here. Some were using the satellite, the satellite phones to communicate with us and send the information outside. So we were in touch with many of them, but virtually the internet was shut down in the country. That was just a day to the election. And everyone was in total darkness. Nobody knew exactly what was going on. So you get your information through online. Even text messages were difficult. So there were organizations operating here, like diplomats, they were having satellite phone. So because of our closeness and because of the respect then for our job, we were able to, get in touch with some people to get, information of what's happening, and then we send this thing across the world and people know what was happening.
So how the world reacts?
The world was in shock, and they knew that was a near end of the regime, because a regime that deprived people of a basic services like internet, how important internet was then, because Jammeh knew the power of social media. He was damn afraid of the social media, because he knew many Gambians were using social media like WhatsApp to send their messages across, and this was unprecedented. It has never happened on that level that Gambians were so much engaged online, conversing, telling families that, look, don't vote for this guy because he has done nothing for us. Vote for so. That was the power of social media, and he knew about that. That's why he ordered his information minister to shut down but that was his greatest mistake. That has in fact contributed to his downfall.
In your opinion, ECOWAS' decision of make the intervention in the Gambia has changed the way of react on this kind of situation, like in other countries,
Gambia is one of the best case examples of ECOWAS. ECOWAS is now used as a model. Even in Europe, they will tell you ECOWAS went to the Gambia to restore democracy, and they succeeded in it without any bloodshed. So now ECOWAS has been used as a model in other parts. Those who wanted to, at least, counter, dictatorship, moving down to democratic dispensations. Because when you look at many of the intervention forces, normally in countries where they go to restore democracy, it's different when you look at the Gambian case. The Gambian case is so unique to an extent that people are now coming here to learn what has ECOWAS do to ensure a dictatorship of 22 years goes smoothly without a bloodshed. That is something very unprecedented in our political history.
So before we're talking to about Tunisia and Egypt, do you think that Gambia could be the light like was Tunisia in
No,
the Arabic
no,
Spring?
I have not predicted that. Gambia is too small to be the likes of Tunisia or Egypt or Libya after the fall of their brutal dictators. As I said, this country is too small and people here live in, they live side by side, despite the fact that, Jammeh has mixed the entire society for the past 22 years, people still live, side by side. Because when you look at the issue of the reconciliation that the government is trying to initiate, the TRRC, which is the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparation Commission, you realize that the objective is to probe the past abuses and also to avoid the occurrence of such in the future. So that alone is telling a lot of people that no matter what you do, you cannot go scot-free, and you must reconcile before people forget the past. So I think it's very, very, I'm not foreseeing a situation like that, in the Gambia.
Mm-hmm. Can you tell me more about that? Because I think after that kind of situation, after a regime, a dictatorial regime, it was, or it could be, hate, could be some feelings of revenge.
Yeah.
So it's necessary a process of peace in the Gambia.
No, the problem is that that in post dictatorship, things like that happen because dictatorships normally come from minority and they will subject the majority to lot of stuff. And the Gambian case, that's what happened. Jammeh comes from the minority Jola ethnic group, and they ruled this country, for 22 years. And Mandinkas are the majority, and Jammeh overthrown a Mandinka government. And then, during that period, he subjected a lot of Mandinkas to humiliation. But now that we have a new government, which is also led by the Mandinkas, the issue of revenge might not come up. Though people will have their personal vendettas against each other, that will happen. Like, I knew you to be working with Jammeh, doing a lot of human rights abuses, torturing people. If I see you, that will hurt me. I can do something to, to hurt you too, because I feel that, what you did was not right. But because you were in power, you were so powerful, nobody can touch you, and now you are not in power, you are here, we can also do what we can do to you. But that has to be in line with the law. That is why we have the, the TRRC that will look into all those kind of stuff. What you are talking about, like, if I get, you want to say about tribalism, like people, so much attached to their tribe to an extent that, they favor their tribe than the other tribe. That happened in Africa, and Gambia is not an exception too. Yeah.
So during the regime,
how far is your interview?
It's not too much.
Yeah, because
you are in a hurry.
I need to just get a message. I need to.
I can.
Just yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm.
Okay, I can ask you about your opinion about the future of your country. his hopeless or his hope, and what's
I
the
am-
role of the young people in his
Yeah.
future?
I am always optimistic. I am always optimistic about the future, and I believe that with the current dispensation, the future of the Gambia is bright, despite the challenges of rebuilding a broken system for 22 good years. If we all work hard and put our heart and minds together, we can develop this country of 1.9 million people. It's a damn small country. Even in Spain, there are some provinces that are more than the Gambia. So Gambia is too small to be developed. We just need to put aside our political differences, our individual differences, and join hands and build the Gambia. It's nothing is impossible. If we put those differences aside and come together, we can develop this country, and that is why I am very optimistic about the future of new democratic Gambia.
Okay, I just a few more questions.
Yeah, no problem, no problem.
We heard about a WhatsApp voice note that is rolling about into Gambia, where Jammeh said that
He will come back,
He'll
and
come
jeans
back.
will not stop him or him. He's lying. He will not come back here. If he come back here, the only place for him is prisons.
so
Jammeh is just doing that in a disparate method to control the narrative. And it will not happen. Gambians have said no to Jammeh, and nothing will make them yes. If that is the case, his party could have win more seats in the National Assembly or in the local government election. But no, it has not happened, and it will not happen. Gambians have break the barrier and moving forward with their future, looking back on what happened in the past.
So do you think that his hands are batadas?
Yeah, of course. At the moment, Jammeh is wanted internationally. He has committed a lot of crimes that that will hurt him until the end of his life. Families are disappeared. Families are scattered. Some lost everything because of Jammeh. So at this moment, anytime Jammeh steps his foot in the Gambia, he's going to prison and go and answer to the crimes he committed. I wish you listened to the Jammeh Commission investigating his financial dealings. Jammeh spent millions of dollars
Okay, but
clandestinely.
okay, but today in Gambia there are so many supporters.
Yeah,
Yeah,
people
no.
are still here who are supporting him. There are people who still believe in Jammeh. There are people who cannot believe in the change we are having. That's democracy. Let them support whoever they want to support. But the truth be told, that Jammeh was a dictator, and what he caused this country, it will never repeat itself.
So do you think it's just a lie of the party of Jammeh?
Huh? It's self-denial. Jammeh and his supporters are in self-denial. You know that you did this, and I know I do it, but still you are not accepting it. That's dangerous. Jammeh still is not accepting that he hurt any Gambian, which is serious. You can see it. You can see how poor this country is. You are doing charity work. When people tell you their stories, you will not imagine a small country like the Gambia, just because we have somebody who pretend to like us while he doesn't.
Okay, Saineh, if you are hurried, for me, I think
Yeah.
it's done. I have some questions about education and.
You have you can ask some questions
Yeah,
about, because
if
time is the
Okay, that's
problem, because it's coming to one, and then Juma prayer is up,
Okay.
and yeah. But if you have a question on education that you didn't ask, exhaust your questions, and then yeah, we that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, because time is the problem.
Okay.
Okay, don't worry.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, it's important for the new administration to improve the education, the quality, the complete access. There's exists an investing on it.
Yeah, without education, the dream of New Gambia will never be a reality. Education is the key. You know, because of this lack of education, we don't have jobs. Because if you don't go to school, you have skills. Who is going to employ you? How are you going to contribute your quota towards the national development? So this new government must invest heavily in education in order to attain its national development goals. They have a new national development goal called the NDP from 2018 to 2021. This is the new government blueprint of Adama Barrow. It is anchored on good governance, revitalization of the economy, and providing infrastructure, but education first. If education is not given it right attention, nothing will work in the new Gambia.
And what's the role of the NGO?
Yeah, the role of the NGOs, including yourself, is to complement the efforts of the Gambia government in providing access to quality and relevant education. And how can you provide this? You must target the grassroots.
So do you think that the NGO we are doing a great job for the Gambia?
Yeah. I learned about your NGO through Battle. One day I was watching Facebook and I saw it. I say, hey, you seems to have guesses, and then he started telling me the work you do, and I appreciate it. And before you go, if you have a major program, I would love to come with my crew to also provide you coverage so that the country can also be aware of the good job you are doing. So we need more of your more kind of your charity in Africa. The work you are doing is amazing and people are proud of your contribution in New Gambia. And I will also call on the international community and international organizations, even the George Soros, the Bill Gates, to come to give you more money so that you can come to Gambia and also change the life and livelihood of ordinary Gambians in various areas. I know you're focusing a lot on education, and I believe that's the way out.
Okay, thank you very much. Do you want to say something to the world or something that you have?
Yeah, let the world come to the Gambia. The Gambia emerged from 22 years of dictatorship. The Gambia is open for business. There are freedoms, and come and help us to rebuild our country. We are in a period of transition from dictatorship to democratic rule. So welcome to the Gambia and help in building this nation. Yep.